I love sharing my stories about the days in the waxing room. I have been a licensed esthetician for almost 20 years, and I have a lot of stories to tell. Um, yeah, most recently, my business has changed. So I've had my business in Oakland for the last, well, let's see, when I opened up in like 2007. And prior to that, I had a business before in a small town that I grew up in. And there they weren't doing any Brazilian waxing. And it was more of a conservative redneck town. So the ladies there weren't really interested in getting it all taken off. So for those of you who may not have ever had a Brazilian or don't really know about what's all entailed in a Brazilian, it is basically taking all of your pussy hair off and everything between your butt cheeks. And for some people, it's super painful. Some people, not so much. It's just different for everyone because everyone's hair is different and everyone's anatomy is a little different from everyone else's. That's what makes you unique and special. Um, so yeah, we've kind of like evolved. My business has evolved, and so now we're not doing as much waxing. So in case anybody is interested in doing it, I only have one waxer right now, and she's excellent. She's awesome, um, and she's been doing it for about 12 years too. So she's really experienced. Um, so yeah, I became an esthetician. Actually, I got my esthetician license on September 11th, 2001, the day of the towers being wiped out in New York. And I remember just like watching from our room because one of my other friends who was with me at the time to take our test, we're looking at the screen going, oh my God, what's happening here? And we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to go get our licensing, and they were open just until we finished our test, and then they had to close it down for bomb threats. So I feel like me becoming an esthetician on that day is just, it's like strange. So that's how long I've been licensed. My waxing career, though, I mean, like, I didn't get into Brazilian waxing or waxing because that's what I wanted to do. I was getting facials from this woman, and every time I would go to her space, I loved what she created. I loved the smells. I loved, the space was just beautiful and very serene and calm. The music, everything. And I wanted to have a space like that. That was the whole reason I got into skin. I loved getting facials. I loved feeling good, but I wanted to create a space for women where they felt comfortable in their skin, where they felt safe, they felt held. And that's what happened when I created Skin and Tonic in Oakland. Um, so I started doing, Brazilian waxes when I got here back in 2005. And it wasn't really part of my business until about 2006 because I needed time to practice. Like, I had to have some stunt pussies. And thank God, my friends are so awesome. Like, I had so many people who supported me in doing it, and they were like, yeah, I'll be a stunt pussy, no problem. And so I had a few friends that I severely tortured. Like, I would never have wanted to ever be in their shoes. I would have never, ever volunteered to be a person to get a Brazilian wax trial or to let them, test on me. There's no way. It's so painful. I personally have thick, coarse hair, and I can't even imagine what that must have been like for even a person with the slightest bit of hair, because Nobody is good at doing it, and they don't teach it in the schools. So when you go out, you don't know what's going on. And you don't even know your way around somebody else's vagina. So it's like, it's kind of like you actually do need to have somebody who is willing to just open and say and let you be the boss of their crotch for a couple hours. Oh, so yeah, there's a few people, and I'm not going to name names because if they're watching, they would maybe be mortified. I'm not sure, but I know of one person. It took 2 hours for me to practice on her and wax her, and at the very end, I mean, she was just like, I think she was traumatized. I know she was traumatized. I don't even think she went to work the next day. It was that bad. But with each person, I got better and better, and I like developed a system, and I tried different waxes, and I got really good at it. And when I opened my business in 2007 over on Grand Avenue in Oakland, I was in this little tiny studio, and pretty much half of Oakland, maybe even more, was out of work. All of the retail businesses were closing down. Everybody was on unemployment, and I was like kicking ass doing Brazilian waxes and brow waxes, and maybe I would get some mini facials, but I was booked out 3 weeks solid at one point with just seeing pussy all day long. Like at the end of it, I was like, just show me some ass or boobs, because like I've just seen it all day long. And I would come home and I would have like pubic hair like stuck on my clothes, and like I would find it in my hair. I don't know how it got there. Um, so yeah, it was pretty funny, like, and the mess that it created. So I was like, I didn't really get into waxing because I wanted to, but it was my bread and butter in the very beginning of my business. So now we're not doing it so much because we are focusing on the reason why I got into skincare in the first place. And this is to nurture our ladies. And let me tell you something, like pulling wax out off of somebody and like pulling things out by the root is not pleasant, and it doesn't feel supportive. And so we're doing a lot more at my place around, healing and helping people just be well, to feel better about themselves. To the beauty industry, I feel has really taken its toll on people's the way they see themselves in the mirror. And people believe now, oh my God, you can see my pores, that's bad. Or, oh, I've got this spot on my face that makes me ugly. Or, oh my God, my zits. Like, and the truth is, like, your wrinkles and all of your spots, they're what make you unique and special. So like, hold on to those freckles. Those are awesome. So we want to like empower and just help women feel a lot more secure about themselves, and just be like, oh, this doesn't define me as a human being. Like, what's in here is what really matters. And also we want to help people, just support them like as they're aging and feeling better about the aging process and what that looks like for them, and just nourishing their skin and giving them some education on how to get more longevity. So this is why I'm not really doing any waxing anymore, and I've pulled away so that I can run a team of women and who are doing that for our people, while I can get out and like educate and coach and you know and talk to people just the way that I am doing here and telling some stories. Um, so I made some notes so I would keep on track, because I will go on and on about a lot of different stories. So yeah, I do want to, like, for any of my friends who are watching that were my stunt pussies, big fucking shout out to you, because I could not have done this without you. And I built an amazing clientele because of you. So thank you for being my stunt pussies, everyone. And I'm sure that all of Oakland thanks you as well, or anyone who has ever gotten waxed by me. By the way, it was like always kind of the running joke that when I would walk into a party and people would be like, how many crotches have you seen in here? And I'd be like, all but maybe 2 or 3. So, so I've been really deep down and intimate with most of my friends. So a few things that I want to talk about, before we like dig into some of the stories is don't ever question your waxer's pricing, because you have no idea what she has seen, what she has smelled or heard. I mean, we've dealt with people who have poor hygiene. People have farted in my face. You're dealing with people who have insecurities with their bodies, people who think that I am purposely inflicting pain on them. I've had loud screamers, people with reflexes who have kicked me or hit me when they've been a little bit ticklish. We've been bruised physically, and our senses have been fucked with. And there's also a small percentage of women that I've dealt with that I call the entitled pussy. So entitled pussies are women who come in for their wax thinking that they are the only person that's coming in. They are the only client of the day, right? They show up late. They have to use the bathroom on arrival. They take their time getting ready. Then they want me to tweeze their hair that when it doesn't want to come out. And trust me, sometimes it just doesn't come out. And there is no way I'm going to try to tweeze every hair that's not going to come out. They're always the ones that book the maintenance wax because they want to pay the lower price. But what they really want is to start all over and have a custom Brazilian done. So the difference between doing like a customized Brazilian is you're a first-time client or you're somebody who hasn't been in for a long time. A maintenance is somebody who's been in like every 6 weeks regularly. So their hair is really easy to tackle. It takes 15 minutes to do. But people try to get sneaky. Entitled pussies, they try to get sneaky and pay the lower price. But you know what? Like, I don't know if they think that I'm stupid, but I can tell that they haven't been waxed in over 6 weeks. So they'll book a maintenance Brazilian and then expect to pay that price, even though they really want me to take everything off. So we have to have this talk, like, this is going to take me longer. And, there's that uncomfortable conversation, and sometimes they're not into it. So I'll make adjustments so that it's like, she's getting something she feels is, worth it. And I feel like I'm not spending all of my time trying to wax, what looks like maybe that she's never been waxed before. So, now also with like cameras on our phones and like social media and everything, we have clients who like want a video and take pictures. And I don't mind that so much as long if like they don't mind showing their body parts. But we've gotten women in who actually use their cameras to get permission from their boyfriends or their partners on what it is that I'm going to do to them. So for instance, like there's many different ways you can get a Brazilian, and you can leave like a little landing strip, or, you can leave like a triangle or something bigger. Like everybody's different in what they want. But and I'm talking about like the top part, some people want to leave a design. I've done lightning bolts. I've done mustaches. I've done, a diamond where I actually like dyed it because she had red hair. And so I dyed it black. So it was a black diamond. I had somebody once request me to do a Hello Kitty, which it looked more like a black mouse, but I mean, she loved it. So it's the best I could do without a template. I just sort of tried to do a cat face. It was like a shadow. It was like a shadow um, of Hello Kitty. Um, but I had this one particular woman not too long ago. It was probably, I would say 2 years ago, she came in, and I get her on the table, and she calls her boyfriend, and she's like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm it's either I do like a triangle or a strip, or what do you want? And it was really clear that it was his decision to have her come in there. She didn't want this, and she seemed really resentful and angry about it. And and I'm going to tell you right now, if any guy ever tells you to do something with your body that you don't want to do, tell him to fuck off and get rid of him, because he is not worth your time. There we go. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. But I've just seen a lot of that come through, and it really irritates me, and there's nothing I can really say about it. They're here to, get waxed, and I'm not here to give them therapy unless they ask for it. So, um, but that kind of shit makes me really mad. But anyway, so she's asking him, and he's like, well, I'm in the grocery store right now. I can't answer that question. And meanwhile, I've got her on the table and I'm waiting. And I was like, look, I have another client after this. Let's get started. And then, he can contact us when he becomes available. So he calls and he says, I would like you to have a triangle. And she goes, okay. He wants a triangle. He wants a triangle. So we do a triangle, and it took forever. She acted like I was like trying to inflict pain on her, and kept telling me, why can't you just go gentler? Why can't you be easier? And I do everything, like I've been doing. I generally never get complaints from anyone. And like I said, I think that a lot of her, the way that she was acting was because she was bitter that this guy was making her do it. But it became a problem for me because I book out waxings 30 minutes tops. That's all I really need. And because it was so painful for her, she wanted me to stop and let her breathe for a minute, and it was more than just a minute. Like, she wouldn't let me go to the other side, and, because I could switch from side to side, but she wouldn't let me do it. So after I was done, I was like, thank God I'm done. I washed my hands with this person, and I left the room so she could get changed. And she's taking forever. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is she still in the room? And so I knock on the door, and she goes, yeah, he doesn't like the triangle. So he just wants me to have you do a strip. And I was like, I have a client coming in 5 minutes. So you need to make sure that he knows what to do. I can take this all off if you want, but you have 5 minutes. You have less than 5 minutes. And so she decides, well, she'll just take it all off. So this is what I did. I just took the entire top part off. And by the time I was done with her, it took me close to 2 hours. So I doubled her the cost. And I explained to her, I could have charged you a lot more. But here's what we're going to charge you. And God damn it, I hope I never see you again. I never wanted to say that, but it was in my mind. And I never did see her again, and I'm really glad. Hopefully she left that guy. But like I said, don't ever put anybody in charge of your body parts, especially your pussy. And with that, I'll go into my next client who she told me she's been like a regular wax client of mine for a while, and she won't let anybody else touch her. And even when I said, hey, I'm scaling back, she was like, I don't care. And when you move, I'm flying to wherever you are, and I'm showing up at your house so I could get my purse waxed. And I was like, purse? And she's like, yeah, I had this one woman when I tried to replace you with this little Filipino woman who's like 65 years old, called it my purse. And I asked her, well, why do you call it my purse? And she's like, because, honey, that shit makes you money. I was like, Okay. Yeah. She's right. Oh, the pussy has a lot of magic powers. Um, Word. Yes. Yeah. Um, so for some waxers, there's a first and only for everyone. And I'm talking about that one client that comes in and just like leaves you with this feeling of, oh my fucking God, that just happened. And I hope that never happens again. So, so I had this client who I had seen before for a just a regular bikini wax. It wasn't even a Brazilian. And what I would usually do with bikini waxes is give them like a paper. They were like paper underwear, and you would put those on, and then I'd kind of line them up a little bit to see like where they want their line to go, because we're not doing like the full top. We're just kind of like coming in. So like if you're going to wear a bikini or something like that, or swimsuit, then you know none of your hair is going to be hanging out. So so I give her the paper undies, she lays down, I come in the room, and get her all ready, and I start to apply the wax, and I shit you not, a spider crawled out from underneath, like from her bush. Because it was a bush. Like, she had very thick, curly, dense hair. And I was like, oh, and I'm terrified of spiders. And it wasn't like a giant spider, but it was big enough that that thing just crawled out, and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't tell her. I was so surprised that I kept my cool. I laid that paper out, and I smashed that spider, and I pulled the wax off, and that thing was smashed, and you could see it was bloody and dead. And I was like, that just happened. And just like trying not to even show that this is, I saw this, because I would be mortified if I was laying there with my legs spread open, and if somebody told me a spider crawled out of my pussy hair, I would have jumped off the table and started screaming and like trying to kill it. And I'm sorry to those who like don't like to kill spiders, but I was not going to pick that motherfucker up and try to, no. So I did what I felt like the best thing I could do was just to like kill it and get rid of it. And I wiped her skin down, and we were good to go. And she never knew. And I felt like I just wanted to spare her any humiliation and embarrassment that came of that, because like, me personally, I would have freaked out, and I probably would have broken something either on myself or something in the room. Um, so my whole guess with that situation is that she probably just like put on a clean pair of underwear, and that spider was just chilling in her underwear, and she didn't see it. And and then when she put it on, it was just like, well, hey there, I'm just gonna nest in here. This is a nice little dark space. And yeah, so the moral of the story is always shake out your undies and check them before you put them on, because since telling that story, I've heard at least two of my friends tell me that before they put their underwear on, they found spiders. So that gets in your drawers. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, they're sneaky, they have their ways. But yeah, that was I would say that was probably the most memorable waxing story I have of all. Next to this next one. So this next one this is the dominatrix. And this is a woman who could dish it out, but she couldn't take it at all. This client got up on my table, and she says, oh yeah, I gotta get everything taken off. Take it off because I'm doing a photo shoot and a video, and I need it to be nice and clean. And I was like, okay, you got it, sister. And as I began waxing her, she screamed so loud. She was the loudest screamer I've ever had. She was cursing. I had to remind her that there are other businesses that were in the building that could hear her. You know, I had a law firm nearby. I had, you know, my friend who was doing massage next door. She was the most delicate flower I have ever had of all of the waxers. And yet she is a dom. Like, I didn't understand it. I was like, wow, she's supposed to be tough. And like, if her clients could have seen her in that wax room, they would have had a whole different idea of who she was. But it was funny because like the woman who was a massage therapist, my friend Andrea, who worked next door, she would tell me on occasion that she would hear clients screaming from the room, or you know, letting out a little yelp, and they always knew that it was me waxing. And I would get ticklish people in there too who would, you know, they'd be like moving around and, you know, couldn't sit still and laughing. And it was quite difficult to wax some people, but you know, I always found a way to get through it. So that's the thing. You can't take it too seriously. It's, you know, it's waxing all your pubic hair off, you know, and some people, they come in and they're all giggly and nervous about it. And, you know, I just wanted to always make them feel good about themselves. And like, you know, if they made the decision themselves to do it, more power to you. So, so occasionally I would take male clients, although I had a couple of bad experiences. I mean, when I was starting out, I had put an ad out on Craigslist, and I had a few pretty bad experiences. And one of the things that can happen, of course, is like they can get an erection, and you know, and then it gets weird. And but the whole thing is that they have to pull, you know, things aside and hold the skin nice and tight so that I can wax. I mean, I can't hold everything, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to hold your erection. You got to take care of your business. Move it out of the way. And I don't care if it's there, just move it. So, you know, so I made it really clear that like if any of my guy friends wanted to get waxed, it was totally cool. You know, you could get waxed, but you know, I had a set of boundaries and rules that, you know, that they had to, you know, abide by. And so the other part was, it's like sometimes these guys they love getting waxed and they want to tell their friends. And so they started telling their friends. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the deal. If, you know, if they know you, they must be cool, but I want you to tell them up front my rules and just let them know what to expect. This is not fun time. And if they, you know, get out of hand, I will fuck their shit up. So I had this one guy in particular who his, you know, friend of his sent him to me, and he was super cool. He goes, hey, you know, I know the rules. I know I'm supposed to behave myself. So, you know, don't worry, I'm not creepy. Cool. Okay, great. So you know, as we get going and everything, you know, he's telling me his whole life story, which is pretty much what happens when I wax. Like I mean, what else do you have to lose? Because like you're half naked on my table and I'm down in your crotch. Like how much more intimate could we be? And you got to have a lot of trust for somebody to be down there. So, I mean, by all means, get your therapy right now, because that's exactly what what it has been. Like sometimes it's been therapy for me, and sometimes it's therapy for my clients. Like we've really I've developed a lot of great bonds and friendships through my waxing clients. So I'm really grateful for that. And for this particular client, I was really grateful for him. He was a regular, and you know, he was such a good storyteller. He would tell me all kinds of stuff going on. He was a paramedic, so he had a lot of great stories for me. But anyways, his first time, like he's trying to learn how to work with me and everything. And I've got him on the table. Things are going good. And he's like, can you do up in my butt crack too? And I was like, sure, no problem. Um, and but I didn't tell him because we weren't quite there yet. I didn't tell him like how I do things, like when I get to that part, right? And so I said, I was just like turned around, kind of doing my thing. And I said, okay, well, we're done with the front part. I said, well, let's, we'll get to the booty hole. And when I turned around, he was up on all fours and he said, man, I wish you could just buy me a drink first. This is, you don't have any cameras in here. This is so humiliating. And I was like, why are you on all fours? Like, I didn't tell you to get on all fours. And he was like, oh, I'm not supposed to. Okay. So I explained to him, I have everybody lay on their side. It's just so much easy. It's like, you know, you could do this and not feel like completely humiliated. Okay. And you're just going to, lay on your side and lift your cheek for me. And then I'll get in there. And he was like, okay, good. That feels so much better. But he's like, I'm not going to be on camera, am I? And I was like, I don't know why you think that I would do something like that, although it would have been a good idea for some of my clients now that I think about it. But no, I would never do that. And again, like he was one of my regulars, and uh I'll go into this like when I get to this to the next story, because he sort of ties in with this next story. So my next story is about this woman who came to me, and her and her boyfriend had been apart for quite some time. He had gone away to like overseas to help I think it was his grandfather, take care of his dying grandfather. So they hadn't seen each other for a long time, and he was coming in that night. And so she was very excited about this. Um and she was telling me a lot. She had just come from oh shoot, what's that sex shop that's all over um San Francisco and
Good
Oakland?
vibrations.
Good Vibrations, yeah. So she had just walked in from Good Vibrations, had the bag. She's like, oh man, I'm ready. She's like, I got some sex toys for me. And she goes, I'm gonna give it to him in the butt. Look at this butt plug. Like, she is all, like all over what she's about to do to him. And so she wanted everything all off. Just make me bare. Like, and it was like amazing. All the things that she was telling me, we had just met. Like, this is the first time I'd ever seen her. And so, so she's telling me all these stories. Like, I just can't wait. I'm just like, she's telling everything that she's going to do to him sexually to me. And after she left, I get a knock on the door, and there's this guy standing out there, and he says, I got to talk to you for a minute. I'm doing work next door. I'm the construction guy. And I was like, okay. And he goes, can we go to your upstairs room? Which was where I was doing my waxing. And I said, yeah, that's totally fine. He goes, are you a doctor? And I said, no. And I said, I do waxing and facials here. And he goes, oh, waxing. Yeah. Okay. Takes me into the room, points up to the top of the ceiling. He goes, you see how the ceiling doesn't connect with your wall? There's like a 2-foot gap there, which I didn't know that there was a gap there. And that gap led to the next room that he and his guys were looking at. So I didn't hear them in there. They walked up those stairs and heard me talking, and were trying to figure out where it was coming from. And they heard the entire story. And he was like, he's like, so I heard the story of the woman who she's gonna do butt play with her man and all this stuff. And he was like, I don't think my guys are gonna work if they have to hear any more of those discussions. And I was like, oh, okay. I got you. Get it taken care of. And he goes, yeah, we'll take care of our side, but you know, you need to put extra insulation in there because nobody should have to hear those conversations. I was like, I'm really sorry you did. He goes, no, it was funny and it was great and interesting, but he's like, my guys are going to be seriously turned on if they get to hear any more of that. So, um, I hadn't had the chance to get it done yet because it was like, I needed a couple days. So in the meantime, I told him, I said, we'll get it done, but I'm still going to take my clients. And he goes, well, we're not going to be in there anyways. It's okay. So you've got some time. We won't be in there for like a week. And I was like, oh, great. Cause we could get this done quick. So my guy that I was telling you about, that got up on all fours, he came in and he was telling me a story about a date that he went on with this woman from his work. And it was very detailed and how it ended up, they were in the shower. She was drunk, like all this stuff. She threw up on him during sex. Like this was a pretty detailed story of his like drunken date night with his coworker. And again, my landlord came in and she had told somebody that was working for me, hey, uh, we need to talk to Ellen. We can hear her with her client and we heard everything. And so I came down and she tells me and I was like, oh shit. I don't know who she was in there with, but maybe it was the guy that owned the building. They never lasted. It was like I put that wall up and then nobody was there until the guy who teaches martial arts next door to me came in. So yeah, the moral of that story is make sure that all the walls go up in the rooms, because this happened to my mom too. The first place that I worked in, I was practicing on her and she was she just like laid back and the walls didn't go all the way up in that space. And my mom thought we were alone, but there was somebody else getting a facial. And I was like, well, Mom, your pits are really hairy. I might as well just go ahead and wax them. And she she was like, I don't know. And I was like, Mom, these are bad. Let me wax them. It's going to give me good practice. You're helping me out. And she was like, oh, okay. So, I apply the wax and then I pull it and she goes, God damn shit, fuck. And she's yelling. And this poor woman is getting a facial hearing my mom, cursing. And I was like, Mom, there's a lady getting a facial in the next room. And she's like, I'm sorry. and the woman was like, so it's okay. And they're like over there giggling because, my mom has, like me, a pretty bad potty mouth. So that was pretty funny. And then I think I'm pretty much done telling the stories. These are like I feel like I picked some of the best stories. I will say that like of all the years that I've had waxing with my clients, my wax clients, even though I have some amazing facial clients, you have a different relationship with your waxing clients because the second they walk in the door, they have to know that you're experienced enough that you can be trusted and that you've been doing this for a while. And so immediately that trust is there. And the second you start talking to them, you're developing this relationship. And, I've just like my waxing clients, we talk about our lives. We've seen each other through marriages and divorces and death of family members and spouses and kids, and uh you know like I would not trade that for anything. It's really helped me to get to a place where I am in my work now. And I feel like because of my experience in the wax room, like it's really helped me to understand the kind of support that my ladies need. And so I want to be there for them in the way that I have been, but just in a different way. Um and I also want to like share a little bit of information so that if you've never been waxed before or you're considering it, like what kinds of things you want to be looking for. So, one, you definitely want to make sure that your person is experienced. If you want to go through a pretty painless process, um, and it's not painless, but somebody who's experienced is going to be better about like making the pain a lot less. Um, so you definitely want somebody who's had some experience, at least a year, because you have to go through all the different body types. And I'm telling you, every labia is different. Everybody's placement of their clitoris is different. Like there's so many different body shapes and sizes, and we have to make sure, the body is full, the skin is taut, when we're pulling it, because otherwise you're going to bruise or lose skin. Um, you definitely want to make sure this person has had a fair amount of experience in the wax room. If you go to European Wax Center, you want to get somebody who, has been there for quite some time, at least 6 months. They tend to be a little bit cheaper, and they have good wax and everything, but you're usually getting a lot of estheticians who are just out of school, and they go there because they can learn how to wax. So just know that, you could get somebody who's inexperienced. Uh, and they do train their staff, but again, like the training comes from the experience. So you want somebody who's had over a year of experience. You don't want to, like, if you're going to go for your wedding or something like that, go to somebody who is reputable. And you can look online. Yelp is pretty consistent when it comes to their reviews. So look for the person that has the most reviews and book that appointment with them. Make sure that they have good, clean, sanitary practices. Like you don't want somebody who's using the same stick on you as somebody else. If they are dipping that stick into the wax over and over, that means they're getting whatever is on your skin into that wax. So, and then they're using it on somebody else. So you don't know who was before you. And let me tell you something, I've dealt with a lot of people who have had severely poor hygiene. And so, and, I've had to work around things like, lesions, herpes, things like that. So, and other things that I don't even know about. So, you know, one of the best types of waxing that I would recommend is sugaring, because if you're concerned about the environment, and I am, and that's why we have kind of slowed down on doing waxing, and we only wax our regular clients, the people who we have been seeing, because we'll never quit them. We love them. But if you want to do something that's more healthier for the planet and for your skin, you know, do sugaring. It's equally the same kind of pain, just a different technique, and they don't use sticks or strips. So you're not like, you're not doing anything that's going to contribute to the landfills, because it's not, some of that stuff is not biodegradable. And you're wasting a lot of trees because you can't recycle any of those sticks. So, just like look for somebody with a good reputation, and maybe a place that's waxing focused, or facial and waxing, but doesn't have like nails and things like that. You want something that's somebody who's more focused on that, because they're going to be the most experienced. If you go to some of the nail salons, and I'm not knocking them, that's not their focus. And a lot of times I've heard things about cleanliness and people double dipping wax sticks. So, stick with the people that are specializing in waxing and facials. When you go in, don't expect everything to be perfect. Like, it's impossible to get all of the hair out. Your hair is meant to be there for a reason. And, it's there to protect you. And because you sweat in that area, and you have just ripped your root out of the follicle, your follicle is open to getting any kind of contamination, germs, bacteria in there. So you're going to get things like, cystic acne there. You can get acne bumps, rashes. Your skin is just going to freak out because it's like, what the fuck? Like, because you have no protection. Your hair has been your shield. So just make sure that like that you understand like how important it is to like stay clean. I always would recommend people use non-alcohol witch hazel wipes just to keep the area clean. Wearing like cotton undies, things that are more breathable, because when I have worn underwear that's like polyester or whatever, I end up getting a lot of breakouts, and I get like the cystic kind too. It's not pretty. So it does happen, and it's not at the fault of your waxer. It is just what it is. So everyone's different. One person may experience more pain than the next. Some people come in and they're like, my friend said it didn't hurt. Well, your friend probably had, she could have been Asian. A lot of Asian women don't really have like thick hair. And so they're super easy to wax and their hair comes out really easily. Somebody who might be blonde and have like really thin hair, everybody's hair and bodies is different, and everybody's pain tolerance is different. Some people walk out with zero irritation. Others will walk out bleeding. I mean, you got to expect, like, when you're pulling something out of the root, there's going to be blood coming out of the root. So it's not realistic to think that, it's going to look pretty and you're going to look like the Nair commercials. It's just not like that. You can get fungal infections. You can get sexually transmitted infections. So I'm just trying to be realistic here. Like, there are some things that you have to know before you go in. It's sort of like when your doctor, does any kind of surgery or anything on you, they're going to let you know all the shit that could happen that's bad. For the most part, I would say about 95% of the time, people have a really good experience. They'll be a little red and irritated and inflamed. But, that's it. Just make sure that your skin can breathe afterwards. Keep it nice and clean. Wipe it down. Don't put a lot of shit on it. Like, try not to put like anything that's going to clog your skin, like heavy oils or anything like that. I use an oil afterwards to wipe people down. In fact, this is, I'll tell you this really quick. This is a funny story. So we always have to wipe the wax residue off, and we use like an oil-based cream or an oil. And this one client was telling me she went to Thailand and got waxed. And she said the woman got a little bit more aggressive and wasn't really careful about where she was wiping or how she was wiping her. And she goes, I was 3 seconds shy of an orgasm. She said I had to tell her to stop. And I was like, why'd you tell her to stop? I mean, shit, it would have been free unless she was charging. I don't know, but like, get it when you can. But yeah, that would have been a little awkward, I would say. Like, that is, I don't know, to have an orgasm in front of my waxer. But yeah, I think that this is, I mean, it's been about an hour. So
come on. All right, hold on. I'm going to thank the audience. Thank you for watching on Facebook, all of you. Thank you, Ellen, for coming on. I'm going to end the live, and then I'm going to bring myself on computer. Let's see. Oh, wait, before we go. All right. So thank you so much. I can't actually say if I would ever want to get a Brazilian wax, especially from hearing your story. Like I've imagined doing it, but now, hell no. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to pass. And like one question, how many places can you wax on your body?
You can wax anything that has hair. Although I have tried to wax like some men, like their heads,
Uh-huh.
or like their facial hair, and I couldn't do that. It just won't come out. But I'd say for men, you couldn't really do the face or the head, but other than that, everything else you can wax. I've done it. I did a guy from like neck down all the way to his toes because he lost a bet.
Wow. And the spider story, like, what? Oh my God. If you guys didn't hear the story, you need to rewind to the story about the spider.
That's the best one, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I just want to say thank you so much. Why don't you just like do a shameless plug on your business and what you're up to, what you're
Okay.
up to now?
Awesome. Well, thanks to Leah Rose, like I was just like a little waxing and facial studio, and now through her coaching, I've evolved. So my place is called Skin and Tonic. It's in Oakland, California. The website, we'll list that here, right? We can list the website.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So we're like a group of healers. I have an amazing group of women who work for me right now. I'm kind of pulling out of the treatment room. And we provide holistic facials, and we teach women just basically how to get more longevity out of their lives and their skin, like out of their bodies. We use all organic skincare, things that are sustainable packaging. As I've kind of like looked at what's going on in the beauty industry, about 70% of beauty and grooming supply, grooming products are responsible for, like making our earth toxic and our waters, filled with crap. So I didn't want that. And so I've like researched a lot of great skincare. They're mostly all women owned. They all like give 100 or 1% of their proceeds back to environmental cleanup. So like there's a purpose behind it. We want to make sure that like everything we put on your skin is going to be nourishing. I don't promise that I'm going to like turn the years around and take the years off. That's not what this is about. This is about preserving your health right now. And when you do that, it reflects on your skin. So we just like, we want to support and like nourish you. Like that's really what Skin and Tonic is all about. And then like from there, like once I get my staff all, finished training and everything, then I'm going to be out teaching. Yay! And I'm going to be sharing these stories, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to be out there supporting you and giving you some education so that you don't ever have to believe the beauty industry and be brainwashed by them into believing that you aren't pretty because you're gorgeous just the way you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you.
I'm so proud that you're like really owning your business. It sounds like just like,
yeah.
This is what I want. And like supporting yourself and still getting to keep Skin and Tonic too.
Yeah. It took a while for me to wrap my head around it because I want to get out. I want to get out and like be on my megaphone and teach people and inspire people. And now I'm making that happen. So it's awesome. And then, and everyone who works for me, like we support each other, and they're all healers, So, I mean, you like pushed me off my ledge. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Yes. So I know Ellen because she was in Sacred Badassery with me, which is my feminine leadership coaching program for women in business. So I just want to let everyone know that you are in the Global Turn On Salon. I grew up in a salon. So like, I kind of felt like when I wanted to create the Global Turn On Salon, it was this place where like women came and you kind of just like do your salon thing together, like as close as we could come to a virtual salon, right? Like we get to hear stories like this. I would love to have you on again, and maybe you can talk to us about skincare or cleansing. Like I've done a couple of your programs, which have been awesome. Sober October, which was awesome. And I did a 30-day detox. So like, yes, let's have you on again.
I would love to be on again. I have lots of things I can talk about for sure.
Yay. Okay, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone on Facebook. And thank you, Sue and Victoria, for being here live. And Jessa was on for a little while. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
We will see you. So the Global Turn On Salon has 2 weeks of, oh my God, I've been saying this for 6 days straight. So we have 2 weeks of like places, like circles and talks and teachers that you can come and like be nourished on different levels of like, you still need connection, you know? So like, we're doing our best to bring what you need to the airwaves. We have talks, we have circles, we have Unleading Sacred Badassery, we have Sunday sermon, we're having dance parties. There's a lot that you can do.